How can Microsoft deliver every graphic detail? Let's find out. Before anything, a very warm welcome to all of you to the channel, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button to make sure you get notified for future releases. How's it going, guys? I hope you've had time to find the right set of hardware to build your PC or upgrade it. The main purpose of this video is to see if Flight Simulator will run well on the hardware of today, because based on what they've implemented so much and invested so much of amount of research in every technical manner, it looks like it's designed to scale onto PC components of the future. Microsoft Flight Simulator is every bit as spectacular as possible. The latest footage that has been released over the last few days has highlighted almost photorealistic approaches when it comes to rendering, and the simulator completely delivers every detail right away from the macro level till the micro level on a global scale. With the hardware that's been designed today, Flight Simulator can run relatively well. But remember one thing, it's designed to scale for PCs of the future. The level of accessibility is beyond amazing, even when it comes to basic gameplay. For example, flying an Airbus A320 can be a complex operation in real life. The approach can be complex the same manner in the Flight Simulator. You as a user can have the option to choose the level of difficulty based on what you choose. When it comes to an easy mode, it would be great to play with a standard controller. However, the physics as well as the world simulation would remain the same. Don't expect it to be an arcade game with a very easy manual. What we need to know is that the core gameplay loop is quite simple. It's all about flying from region to region, and that can simplify in the strength of the Flight Simulator. It would certainly take time for a new user to learn how to pilot the plane, where you could enjoy every sight that's available in the globe. When it comes to technology, Microsoft Flight Simulator is built off the simulation engine of its predecessor, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator X, but with vast improvements and brand new rendering engine on top of it, which has been architected by Asobo Studios. Asobo Studios have been in the business from quite some time, including many titles that include A Plague Tale and many more. When it comes to Flight Simulator, this team has certainly gone above and beyond. They've made sure to deliver an entire world in this title, where the engine can leverage satellite imagery or fly-by-image scans as a basis of height and terrain texture data. An offline procedural generation AI can read these textures based on their own parameters, wherein terrain data that include materials, roads, buildings, trees, and many more factors can be populated. This can help the artists go in and enhance based on every location with more detail that include photogrammetrically captured materials and textures. So if you have many cities in mind to fly by, you can expect more details, especially with capital cities, where you can see different cultures, heritage sites, and many more. When you experience the Flight Simulator, you're basically looking at a high-resolution image of the entire globe in 3D. Think of Google Earth, for example, but at a much higher quality. We're looking at multiple terabytes of texture as well as height mapping data that you would certainly not have the hard drive space to store this. It's not just the details of the environment that would be streamed. Flight Simulator would render real-time world location of actual planes in your vicinity, making it more realistic. Weather is going to be accurately simulated based on other real-world data too, down to even thunderstorms and cloud rendering. Imagine yourself flying in between a thunderstorm that is happening really in a live location. Wouldn't that be scary and real? The main goal is to represent real-world flight and weather conditions 24/7, which is quite an ambitious thing and unique when it comes to Asobo Studios. The engine can deliver near and distant fog, volumetric clouds that can cover a wide variety of weather scenarios the simulation can present. Massive volumetric cloud formations can stretch as far as the eye can see. Clouds can cast shadows onto themselves as well as on the ground while they form based upon the wind as well as weather conditions. So when it comes to ultra settings, the volumetric clouds are of high resolution. The realism is breathtaking. When the atmospheric rendering, clouds as well as light, all of them combined together, it can give a very special outcome, making it more real. Every aspect have been given attention to detail that include terrain data. When it comes to technical terms, the quality of the satellite-driven data with the use of photogrammetric assets can hold up beautifully all over the globe. When you fly close to cities, you can get a chance to see high-detailed buildings right down to individual blades of grass. The outcome of all this is quite realistic. One thing to note that ray tracing is definitely a future upgrade, and one needs to wonder how the expected outcome would be with an already beautiful simulator. There's definitely a good level of ambition as well as craftsmanship, which is quite high, and the developers have done an amazing job in terms of graphic scalability. Remember one thing, make sure your CPU is great, because Flight Simulator can utilize a good amount of it. By the means of all these things that can add to a great outcome like Microsoft Flight Simulator, it certainly feels like a PC product. While the Xbox version is coming out, it would be interesting to see a similarity or a difference within these two versions. To view all these amazing details, you need to understand it all comes at a cost. For example, a Ryzen 9 3900X with the RTX 2080 Ti set at ultra settings, that means when it is set at ultra settings at 4K can deliver 30 to 40 frames per second. It all depends on how close to the ground you would be and how close to the clouds you would get, because Microsoft Flight Simulator have invested heavily for graphics that include planes, clouds as well as ground data. And more specifically, so the cloud system for example would be heavy on the GPU, while low altitude flying at ultra settings is more CPU intensive. It's good to remember that Flight Simulator can scale very well for both CPU as well as GPU based on different graphic options they offer. When the game is released, we can go on a much more deeper conversation when it comes to graphics and actual quality. It would be ideal to note that the next generation gaming industry would tax more on the hardware basis. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. There are many more topics to discuss about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned guys.